online webinar about university or industry. Why not both? We're going to be looking at 3 masters during this webinar. Firstly, the MBA Computing, Master of Project Management, and the Master of Management Information Technology. So we'll have a look at before we have a look at the agenda, just an introduction. My name's Martin Hale. I'm on the left there in the suit. That's up at graduation at Wagga. And the other people I point out, Scott Anderson was the first ever graduate from one of these programs way back in 2003, 2004. And the chap on the right is Dr. Irfan Eltaz. He's head of school for computing and mathematics who look after these courses at Charles Sturt University. CEO of IT Masters, and I'll explain who we are as we go through. And I'm also an adjunct senior lecturer at Charles Sturt University. Don't do much lecturing anymore, but it allows me also to represent the university. There's the agenda. So I said this will be for the 3 masters. We'll have a quick look at the structure, example subjects, have a talk about who IT Masters is and how we work with Charles Sturt University, and probably the one everyone wants to get to. First off is fees and payment options, number 6, but we'll have a good look at that as well. Let's talk about the target audience. Master of Project Management. The latest census data show, no surprise here, the number 1 growth area in IT in Australian employment area is IT project management. So we realised this way back in 2006 and brought in a Master of Project Management. It is generic project management with an IT focus on it, but we had plenty of other people in other areas of project management do it as well. But there's certainly a bit of an emphasis on IT on the way through. And then we've got 2 management masters. The Master of Management Information Technology is primarily aimed at people who either are going to move on or just moved into supervisory mid-level management positions, lower to mid-level. And the other one, the MBA Computing, generally for people who are looking to move into high-level executive level management. So more of a strategic focus on that one, whereas the Master of Management has more of an operational focus. Course structure, all of the 3 masters are structured the same. There's a total of 12 subjects, and we break them up. They're all broken up into 6 what we call university subjects. Well, actually, they're all university subjects, but these are more, they're delivered by the academics at university who have designed them. Some very clever people working in research in areas like project management. And the other 6, which really differentiates these masters, is we have what's called 6 industry certification-based subjects. These subjects, not all of them, but generally they're based around helping you prepare for certifications, industry certifications. But all of them are delivered by industry-based experts in project management, IT management. So they are like you, they're working during the day in their day job. And then at night, they come home and deliver subjects on our behalf. They're mostly alumni, just about all alumni these days. We've got several thousand people have been through these programs, and they then come on and, as I say, design, develop, and deliver subjects. There's 3 sessions per year. We don't call them semesters because there's 3. And the recommended load for people like yourself, who the target audience for these is people working in the industry during the day who want to study by distance education at night or the weekend, whenever, is 2 subjects per session. So your first question to get into the Masters is how long should it take you? And you should come up with 2 years. Realistically, the average is about 2.5 people take to get through. Some people take longer. You've got up to 4 years without a problem, but even longer if you've got a good reason to complete it. But we've also had people like the chap in that photo who got a lot of credit, Scott Anderson. In that photo I showed you, he delivered in a year. So we've had people finish in a year as well, fast track their way through, mostly because they got lots of credit. Now, a quick look at the structure of those 3. The MBA Computing, remember I said focused on senior executive level management. So you've got subjects like IT governance in there, strategic practice. Yeah, you'll see some of these in the other ones as well, but more of a focus, and certainly as a core that you do, you know, IT risk management and governance, that type of area. As with all of the masters, you have core subjects. This one has 8, so 8 of that are the 12 you have to do. These are them, or you'll get credit for it. I'll talk about how you might get credit for some of them. Always an interesting one. Finance, one I really struggled with. I did my masters. That is a core in the MBA. As you can imagine, if you're moving into senior management, you really need to be able to analyse a spreadsheet. Company performance, and to be able to talk, you know, at board level on how the company's going. So that's an important one. As I said, not everyone loves it, but a very important thing to study. And then you've got 2 groups of electives. We've got the industry-based stuff. In this case, you choose 2 from, there's a lot more actually, but this, I've just given you as an example. There's some project management. You could do even some development stuff or cybersecurity. Depends on what your interest is there. So just pick out 2 from quite a large pool. I mean, that MGI 522 is an interesting one. It's actually developing solutions, really sales solutions in terms of what's the leading edge stuff in how people sell solutions into a company. So you might have to convince the board that you want to do such and such. This would look at how you would do that, some of the techniques. And then you've got the Group A academic. These are developed from within the university by academics. And again, there's a whole pool of them. There's an interesting one, MGT 549, toxic leadership. I just hope it doesn't teach you to be a toxic leader, but I assume it doesn't. It'd be interesting to have a look at. Leadership, change management, it's been huge, even some marketing stuff, digital and social media marketing. So yeah, again, a big pool of electives, but you've got to do your eight core, and that's what makes it the MBA computing.
Martin, I'll just butt in. My name's Neil McCosh, and there's a Q&A box on the top left. If anyone has any questions, I'll answer you directly or later if I can't have the answer now. Thank you. Yeah,
as you see, the university is famous for its study of wine science. So there's a bottle of CSU wine who can ask him the most difficult question. There you go. There's a challenge for you as we go through. The Master of Project Management. Huge. I mean, it's so introduced in 2006, and we actually considered pulling it out after a year. It wasn't huge enrollments, but I think project managers probably do a bit more long-term planning than others, and it is fantastic today. Even cybersecurity are just going gangbusters in terms of enrollment, and not surprising really, because there's both such strong career areas these days. I always say to people, ask me about career advice, I say, well, project management, if you can cope with the stress, you're never going to be out of work. I mean, there are people looking for them everywhere. And as I said, from the census data, really growing, and under the only people who are earning more money in the IT industry are the managers. So not a bad earner as well. So as you can imagine, core subjects around project management, but these ones with the MGI are industry based. So when you do MGI 511, which is, by the way, is built around the PMI project management certifications, CAPM and PMP, there's an industry-based project manager who will be delivering it, who's obviously got a passion for teaching and sharing knowledge. So we've got a pool of them that would deliver those subjects. So they'll not only be covering that content, but they'll also talk about what they're doing at work in project management and relating it to the theory. And then we've got the MGA and the HRM, which are CSU core management type subjects. Again, very good. Don't get me wrong, they're excellent subjects, but delivered from a more an academic standpoint. And then you've got, as with the others, you've got 2 pools of elective. You've got 2 2 to pick from industry. And Agile's huge. What an area to get into. I saw the other day, I think it was Telstra announced they're going to put on another 5,000 Agile, or looking for another 5,000, and how much did it cut their development time? So massive area, very, very popular subject. But if you're going to get up and managing a group of projects, program and portfolio management, that's built around the Project Management Institute. Again, they've got a certification in there. And then there's a bit of a mix, and there's other options as well, but there's a business analysis subject. Again, if you've got a bent that way, lots of demand for these people. BAs normally come from, not always, but from experienced project managers. And a new one, which we've got coming in, which will be fascinating, is project recovery. So what do you do? We all know projects never run off the rails, but just in case something bad happens, we've got a subject looking at the latest research and methodologies in project recovery. How do you get these back, or how do you decide you need to can it, for that matter? So that'll be interesting. That's being introduced next year. And then you've got your academic electives. Again, there's several more, but there's a mixture of ones you might want to do. I mean, as I say, no one ever loves finance, but it's a good thing to have under your belt if you're a project manager to cost projects. And the other one, the third one, the Master of Management IT. Again, supervisory, mid-level management type people. You're either in operational management or aiming to get into operational management. So more hands-on type stuff. And a number of the subjects across all three of them actually, but what's different here is you can do what's called a specialization. You don't have to, but most people do. So you might have come out of the cybersecurity area, for instance, and you're moving into management. You're going to the dark side, as we say, moving into, you might be managing cybersecurity people. Well, you can do a specialization just to keep your skills up to date. You can do 4 subjects in cybersecurity, or if you're interested in mobile app development, you can do 4 subjects in that area, and that'll give you a specialization in that area. So I haven't listed the subjects there because there's zillions of them, but they're up on the website. You can go and pick from those. So that's a specialization. You do 6 course subjects, 4 to be a specialization, or you can pick and choose across all of those, and you wouldn't get a specialization, but that's fine. You can do 1 in cybersecurity, 1 in mobile, 1 in project management. And then you do 2 subjects from the pool of academic electives there. Again, large pool to pick from. Shouldn't have too much trouble finding something you're interested in there. So that's the structure of the 3 masters. I said I'd have a look at a subject. One that's common across those 3 masters, you can do them either elective or its core in the Master of Project Management, is the subject I'm in, which is MGI 511 PM Fundamentals. Prepares your PMI certification. It's based, as it has to be, on the latest core body of knowledge from the Project Management Institute. We're just upgrading it now to the latest one. We have to do that because people get a bit upset if they do the subject and then go off and decide to do the certification exam and find out we're teaching them out-of-date stuff. So it keeps us honest. It keeps us forced to do the very latest industry, in this case, the very latest industry body of knowledge. And that's one of the things I would say is unique about these masters, is because we've got it tied this way, you'll be studying the latest stuff. At the very least, it'll be 6 to 12 months behind the latest certification stuff. But even then, what we do is, while we're updating it, we run sessions on what the latest developments look like. Important part of your masters. How do we assess it? Everyone jumps straight away. Well, I don't want to hear about the subject. What assessments am I going to do? There's an online test fairly early in the session, and that's based around the Project Management Institute certification exam questions. Not exactly the questions, of course, but similar, very similar to the exam questions you would do if you decided to go and get your certification. By the way, have a good look at that. It's pretty important in project management particularly. Then you roll on into a assignment. Two of the, I don't know how many of the processes, there's a whole range of them, but you've got to identify 2 of the PMI processes according to the project management body of knowledge that appear to have failed, you know, and then you've got to talk about what the hell are you going to do about them. So very applied in academic sense, in a real life type situation. And then you have a final exam, which used to be paper-based and now is increasingly sit at home, webcam monitored exams, which are much more convenient for people. Have a final exam which is worth 50%. That'll be a mixture of multi-choice and short answer type questions. So that's how that's assessed. I'll just quickly do another one. I think I've got a couple here. Network security. This is a technical subject. And just to show you how different assessments we've got, very, you know, more of a hands-on look at number 2, description of a message encrypted with cyber, analysis of the encryption algorithm. So this is, even though that is actually an academic subject, it's pretty applied still. And as I say, they want to see that you understand state-of-the-art network security. There's another one there. Want to build around the CISSP certification. I won't spend too much time on these. Okay, we'll just jump on now to the background of the CSU and who the hell is IT Masters and how do we fit into the mixture of things. Before 2002, industry certifications were quite separate from university. You either did one or the other, and there wasn't a lot of recognition in either direction, quite frankly, of the value that they were. You know, people often ask me what's the most value. Well, I would say I want both on my resume, truthfully, and experience. Everyone wants experience, obviously, but I'd certainly, if I was a project manager, for instance, I'd want my PMP and preferably an academic qualification in project management would be good as well. So anyway, before this happened, they were separate. That changed with some help from Microsoft. In 2002, we launched what was then the first and still is Masters, where it's got industry certification based embedded within the Master's degree. And as you've seen, that's generally half of the Masters, 50% of it is built around the latest thinking in industry and the latest industry certification. So very important. I did my Masters at another uni, started many years ago, and we hit the first technical subject and it was woefully out of date, truthfully. And there was huge dropout rate, people pulling out. So we recognised the importance of it and took a lot of work and a lot of flexibility on the part of Charles Sturt University, lots of help from the industry. I mean, the Project Management Institute were fantastic with the Master of Project Management, for instance, in helping us get it structured correctly. And yeah, and embedding it within a master's degree. So you get both. Who's IT Masters? We market the Masters. That's what I'm doing now. I'm talking to you about maybe doing your Masters. The second part, which I really enjoy a lot more, is identify opportunities to further expand the range of Masters. And also the content of the Masters. That project recovery subject is a classic example of that. We had a number of people, alumni particularly, coming back and saying, look, projects failing all over the place, and there isn't really that much around any structured way of how do we assess them, what do we do? We'd normally, next stage, we'd look for an industry-based organisation and certification to base it on. There wasn't really much around. So we've had our alumni and project management experts build us a subject from the ground up. It'll be fascinating by the sounds of it. So that's an example of expanding, and we support the students. As I mentioned, half the content is what we call around, industry-based subjects. When you study those subjects, you'll still be using all the uni infrastructure, and they'll still be university subjects, but we find the industry-based people to build and run the subjects, and we also provide some of the support as you go through your studies. Why might you study at CSU? Well, I'll make a couple of assumptions. You decided you want to have a master's, or you think about having a master's degree on your resume, and I'll show you some dollars later on and why that would be a very good, if you haven't already got one, a very good decision. And also you want to study via distance ed, as distinct from going to a classroom. For whatever reason, you want to do online. That's what we do. It's all online, the material that we, CSU have been presenting online qualifications. They went online to start off, they were paper-based for 50 years. So, and as you see, we dominate the market anyway in that area. And this is critical. I can't stress this enough in your investigations. Make sure you're studying the latest technologies, frameworks, platforms. It's a question you should ask because, as I said, it really is difficult if the stuff's out of date. Just studying all this old stuff and you know you can't apply it today, it's not going to be of much use to you. So I said, why would you do DE with Charles Sturt? Well, we dominate the world of distance ed in Australia. So we think we do a fantastic job of it. Very sophisticated online platform to study from. When you've got that many students and had 50 years experience at it, it gets pretty good. And why might you do IT, including IT project management? Well, remember I said we started in 2002 with that first one where we were way down the list of universities in those days, way down. In 2009, we hit market leadership, and now we dominate the market in terms of IT postgraduate part-time in Australia. These are the figures from the government. So, I mean, that doesn't include a lot of the management. It's nearly 1,000 students studying these group of masters. So I think they're voted with their feet as to the quality of what we're doing. As I said, you want to study we have the latest industry certs, and we have, very importantly, industry-based lecturers who can talk about their experience with IT management today when they're lecturing at night. What's the study load look like? Well, how long's a piece of string? It depends very much on your experience level. These are designed for people working in the industry, studying part-time. So you're all going to bring an experience level into your course. If you're starting with MGI 511 Project Management Fundamentals and you've got some experience as a project manager, you're obviously going to be a hell of a lot easier for you to do the subject. If you didn't have any experience, you'd need something like 6 to 12 hours per subject per week. But if you've got experience, it'll be a lot less than that. You may not have to do much work, at least with the early ones. I'm sure you will as you go through. So if you're doing 2 subjects, and often, people have all different study plans, maybe a couple of nights a week and a day on the weekend, every second weekend or whatever. But definitely okay to drop back to one subject or take leave. We're not going to put you through the ringer about that. You just have to send us an email saying, oh, hold on a minute, work's got out of control, or my partner would like to talk to me for a change. Can I take a bit of a break, please? And that'll be fine. There's only one stimulation there. You need to tell us within 4 weeks of starting the subject, if you have already. That's a thing called census. All unis have it, and that means you can pull out without any financial penalty. Hold on to your books generally, and when the subject rolls around again, you just start it again. What does it cost? $31.50 per subject, up to 12 subjects, depending on your credit level. And you need to pay at the beginning of each study session. Important note here, if you go to your accountant, we've had a number come back and said that they told them it wasn't tax deductible. Well, providing it's relevant to your career, current or aspired career, it is. I'm sorry, that's not correct. They've got confused with HECS funded bachelor undergraduate studies. These are full fee. It's definitely tax deductible, and includes everything you're going to need. In fact, don't buy anything else because you're going to be pretty busy anyway. And don't forget census, 4 weeks in. That's a you can take a break, and you get warned of that every time. There'll be an email comes out said census are coming up. If you need to retire from the subject, please tell us. Even if you're just interested in enroll in a subject and have a look at it for 4 weeks and see what you think. How do you pay for it? Well, everyone who's a government Australian citizen resident, just about all of them use fee help. It's a government study loan. It's interest free, but index or CPI is not much these days. It covers everything. All of that 3150, the way it works is you tick a box in your application and the government pays the uni your fees. Again, we've had people come back from accountants with the wrong information here. There's no study loan fee on this. That's the undergraduate bachelor 25% fee. There's no fee on this. But the bad news for you is you do have to pay it back, and repayments cut in at about that level, and depending on what you earn, go up to a maximum of 8%. So that would come out of your pay. What does it take to get in? Normally, to do a master's degree, you'll need to have a bachelor or undergraduate degree, which, by the way, is double the number of subjects of a master's. But what we had right from the first intake is we had a lot of senior people applying and who didn't have bachelor's degrees. Not really supposed to happen. They, not supposed to be successful without your bachelor's degree. Well, according to some universities, some academics think that, well, it's not the case in IT particularly. Lots and lots of people who probably got poached out of uni before they finished their bachelor's degree. So we have an industry experience pathway. Providing you've got a minimum of 2 years experience in the industry, you can come in via what's called a graduate certificate pathway. A graduate certificate is 4 subjects taken from the masters that you want to do, and providing you pass them, you then transfer into your masters, and you get full credit for what you've already done. So you actually end up with 2 qualifications. Nearly half of the people who are studying these masters are in this situation, and would you believe a lot of the prize winners for the top performing come in under this. So called a graduate certificate pathway. So you don't have a bachelor's degree, don't panic. Providing you've got a couple of years industry experience, you can come in through the graduate certificate pathway. It is 4 subjects, 2 and 2. And it will be, if you don't do project management, it'll be a graduate certificate in project management. So those 4 subjects will come out of the Masters of Project Management. And you're going to say at the end of this, well, what's the downside to this? Well, there isn't any. It's fully accredited postgraduate qualification. So you'd end up with a graduate certificate in project management, say a master's or a Master of Management IT, whatever you did. It articulates to the corresponding with full credit, so there's no extra work, and you'd finish it in only 12 months. In fact, there's a financial advantage to doing it this way. Alumni get a discount on their fees, and because you've got your graduate certificate, you actually get a discount. So you'd almost be, well, you would be, it's probably the way to do it anyway, is do the graduate certificate pathway. As I said, there's no downside to it and a couple of upsides. Credit, we're not going to make you study stuff that you already know. You'd be quite probably disruptive in class if you did. Anyway, we give credit for industry certifications. I don't know, got them in the last 10 years. So if you've got your Project Management Institute, Project Management Professional, for instance, or your COBIT Risk Management, IT Risk Management certification, and a whole range of other ones, we would give you credit for the corresponding subject. You can also get credit for previous academic studies. So they had to be a postgraduate level. So you might have started a master's in something at another uni. You have a look at a subject that looks very like one of our subjects. Yeah, apply. If it's a 70% or better coverage, and we won't muck around. I mean, if you deserve it, you'll get it. On a new way, which has only just come in, we run 6-7 times a year. We run short courses in IT, project management. They're free. A little exam at the end. If you pass 3 of those, you could you'd be up for 1 subject of credit, 1 out of 12. Maximum amount of credit, as with all unis, is 50%. So you can get 6 up to 6. If you think, even slightly think you might be up for credit, or you're even just interested in finding out, go up to the IT Masters website and fill out the Am I Eligible form. Neil, who introduced himself before, because I forgot, will come back to you very quickly, won't you, Neil? Within seconds. No, within days.
Milliseconds, Mark.
Milliseconds. and advise you of what level of credit you would be up for, or he may need to talk to you about it just to get some more clarification on how do they prove that they've got the credit? They have to send you a printout of their exams or something, don't they, Neil?
Oh, these days you can get a lot of them verified online. You give us access to the online one, or if it's a transcript, we need a JP to just sign it's a true copy. But, you know, it's both ways are fairly easy.
Or JP, or even a chemist. You can get to certify it. They're just certifying that you're who you say you are, I think. Anyway, whatever. When can you start? Well, Friday is the next closing date, which is pretty soon. If you're interested in the session 3 intake, the one over Christmas, not a bad time to study. A lot of people say, graduates tell me, they say over Christmas. Sometimes, you know, maybe just on one subject, but it seemed to work well for them. So you need to get a wriggle on if you're interested. You don't need to have all your documentation and that in, but you do need to have your application in, online application. If you're interested in that, I suggest you give us a ring or email us at IT Masters, and we'll help you making sure you get your form in on time. We've even, Neil will even, another chap here, Jeff, will even walk you through the application form if that helps you. So if you're in that boat, ring 1300 885 685 and say, I'm interested in making the next intake. What can you do for me? So the way that would work, you'd start studying on the 10th, and you've still got a bit of time. There's any documentation, supporting documentation that's required. The next one after that's end of January, starting in March. That's more traditional, the big intake each year. And then we've even got a third one because there's 3 sessions per year. There's a mid-year intake as well. What's the return on investment? You know, you're thinking about studying management, even project management. They'll ask you return on investment all the time. This is census data from 2006, and I've just got the latest census, and I'll bet you it'll be the same because the US stuff shows the same. And what you have to put in your census these days is what qualification you got, what your job is, and how much you're earning. And if you look at those 3, if you don't, especially if you don't have a degree currently, it'd be one of the best investments you'd ever make, because based on a 25-year earning, you're talking about $600,000 difference between the 2. Why is there a difference? Well, it'd be a fascinating research topic for you when you go on and do your doctorate, but is it because of what they learned? Is it because they were just a go-getter and that's why they're doing further studies anyway? Who knows? There's all sorts of possibilities on what, but it's definitely there. That's as I say, census data. It's quite clear, the correlation. And just a little career tip there. And this happened just a week ago to one of our students. He started his Masters and he's only done a couple of subjects, and he's picked up actually did it in cybersecurity, and he picked up a job in cybersecurity, which he wasn't working in at the time. And it actually worked for me when I was in Telstra. I got my first executive role. I'd started a Masters and I put in progress after the name of the Masters. And it was great at the interview. They asked me and said, well, what does this mean, in progress? I said, well, I'm 2 subjects in. I'm studying in my own time, by the way. And this is what I'm studying. And I think it had a fair bit to do with, getting the job. But also one of the HR people said, well, I wouldn't have been on the interview. I wouldn't have been shortlisted without having a degree. on my thing. So it ticked both the boxes, and all I'm saying there is that some of the benefits can flow a bit early. You don't actually wait to, don't have to wait totally until you're graduated. Give it a try anyway. Okay, so what are you going to get? We'll just wrap up here. My voice is starting to go. You get a fully accredited master's level university, a master's level degree, Charles Sturt, and if you do the postgraduate pathway, you get 2 qualifications. If you haven't got them already, you're prepped for a range of industry certifications. Not so many in the MBA, truthfully. There's the risk management of COBIT, but not that many in there. But certainly in any of the project management subjects, there's generally a correlation in the range of industry certifications. And let's face it, the PMP is huge in the industry. So we'll help you prep for those, or we'll give you credit for them if you already got them. And I'll try to finish up with a bit of a joke here. CSU, as I mentioned earlier, is famous for the study of wine science, and alumni and students and people like myself actually get 25% discount on CSU wine. So there's an incentive for you. As you pass each subject, you could open up another bottle of wine. And Neil, we were going to give away a bottle, weren't we? Neil? Hello, Neil? Oh, he's cut out. I'll leave it up to him to work that out. Hopefully you're still there. So we're...
Sorry. Yes, sorry, I will pick someone with a wine. Someone even asked me already. That question was the best, but yeah.
Come on, let's put. I'll give you 30 seconds while I talk to this last slide, and then you're going to have to announce who it is. All right?
Oh, okay.
Oh no, I suppose you should do it at the end, shouldn't you?
Well, I haven't got all the questions, and people ask me questions after you leave. And
so if you stay online at the end of this, Neil will announce it at the end.
And your throat's nearly going, so I'll leave it open for me, and I'll answer a lot of questions, Martin.
Okay. So where to from here? You got any questions? We'll type it into Neil. Hopefully it's a really tough one. Email us or call us, and especially if you're interested in that session 3 intake, I would suggest you give us a call. We fast track the application and get you all set up for the 10th of November if you're ready. Okay, thanks for that. Good luck with this or whatever you decide to do going forward. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I am here. I'll just answer a few more questions. And I have sent my email address to everyone on the chat, but you'll find plenty of emails and phone numbers on our itmasters.edu.au site. And there'll be plenty of people to help you if you want to start next week or next year or in 5 years' time. So thanks for coming, and we'll go from there. So I'll stop talking, but I will answer questions for a little while longer. Thank you.